Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about my 1970 Snow Cruiser Model 200 that we affectionately call the Cheater. So I picked up this sled from a woman who was liquidating a bunch of her husband's stuff as they're in the middle of a dirty old divorce, and she wanted to get rid of all his shit, as she liked to put it. And so I figured any woman that is that angry at a guy, he could have been really naughty. So that is why we call this thing the Cheater. It's in pretty good shape. It was Michelin windshield and needed a seat fixed, some engine attention. The gas tank needed a little bit of service, but overall, really good. Here I've power washed everything after I've taken it apart. The track needed a little bit of attention, but overall, everything was really solid. 50 years of riding really took their toll on the aluminum axles. They were pretty worn out and bowed really bad. I made some new ones out of some stainless bar that I had kicking around, and they turned out really nice. The track had a couple of Grouser bars that were broken, so Gene donated some from an older track he had kicking around. I made some rivets out of some aluminum. I don't know if aluminum was the best material, but they've held up for the last couple of years. I used a pneumatic rivet tool to put them together. The wear strips under the tunnel were replaced with a pair that I made out of UHMW. There was the odd broken bolt that needed to be ground out and a new one welded in. That was no big deal. The sled didn't come with a snow flap, but I had some orangey looking gasket material that I used, and that turned out nice. The rear grab bar was broken, so I had some electrical conduit that I bent up to replace the old one. In fact, I think that the new one is even stronger than the old one. The seat foam was in a rather remarkable shape other than being soaked, so I made some new plywood and had the seat recovered. I had the upholsterer put an extra 3 inches of foam under the seat. Anything you can get there really helps. Here you can see everything put together on the back end. As far as the gas tank goes, it was in pretty reasonable shape. The filler neck, not the filler neck, where the bung goes for the gas line was broken off. So after I cleaned it out, I used the hot stapler and kind of pieced it back together and then sealed it up with some polyethylene. The carburetor looked really bad, but it actually wasn't. It cleaned up really nice, and it works great. I haven't had a lick of trouble with it. It was one of those things where everything just worked out well. The engine was in really good shape too. All I did was change the crank seals on the bottom and clean everything up. The engine had 140 pounds compression on it, which is awesome. I found this poor guy inside the recoil housing. I don't know how long he'd been there, but he was drier than a popcorn fart. The sled was missing the white toolbox that would have come with it, so I made sort of a toolbox out of some aluminum tubing I had, and I spring loaded the sides so you could stick a bottle of whatever in there. I came across this old ad advertising decals for these old machines, and I thought, well, that would be kind of cool. So of course you can't get them anywhere, but good old eBay, I found something similar made for automobiles, and I used those, and it looks cool in my opinion. Anybody that's into OMC sleds knows about the OMC Blitz kit, which I don't think was ever offered for Snow Cruiser. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to make the front end part just for my sled. I mean, you can't really find those kits anywhere. So looking at vintagesleds.com, there's a few pictures that guys have put up of their machines that have these kits on them, and I scaled everything, and with a little help from my buddy Gordy, who got me sort of a sketch, I managed to piece one together. If you do any kind of metal work at all, it really wasn't that hard. Here's, you can see from the pictures the step-by-step I kind of went about as putting it together. Johnson and Everner seem to have really cornered the market on the Blitz part of the whole kit, so I've decided that this should just be called the Shitz kit. You can't take this stuff too seriously. I widened everything up by 4 inches per side, so that means you also needed 4 inches of longer tie rods for your steering. And here's the finished product. It turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. It actually adds a lot of stability to the sled. So somewhere along the way I picked up some Arctic Cat skis, and I thought they'd be kind of cool to put leaves on and then put on this sled. I made some spacers for the skis just to put a little bit more pressure on the track. And here's the whole thing put together. I had to bend the loop at the front to make it fit, and then I put the springs on backwards, and you can see where the little wear tab is at the back. These skis have quite a large wear bar, so that's why I didn't bother putting a reinforcing bracket along the length of the ski. With the Blitz kit front end on, I didn't have a bumper to put on the front, so I have a handful of old Scorpion whip bumpers. So using a little heat, I bent one up and bolted it on there, and I'm pretty happy with that. It looks okay. So that's it. This has become one of my favorite sleds. I drive it a lot, take it to a lot of derbies. Well, not a lot. I take it to derbies when I can, and it's constantly changing. I'm always doing little things. I'm thinking I might maybe do a motor swap. I don't know. Just whatever strikes my fancy at the time. Thank you for watching.